Rockbridge Weekly is delighted to host Supervisors candidate Ronnie Campbell, who's running for a seat from the South River District. Welcome, Ronnie.
Thank you, Jerry.
Ronnie has served on the Rockbridge County School Board and has been a public servant in a number of areas. And he joins us today to give his views on some issues, and we're going to learn a little bit about his background. Who is Ronnie Campbell anyway?
Ronnie Campbell grew up in Augusta County. My dad was from Vesuvius, that's where he grew up, and he moved to Augusta County when he married my mother and raised a family over there. I was the second class to graduate from Stewart's Draft High School. After Stewart's Draft High School, I went to East Tennessee State University. My childhood dream pretty much I wanted to be a Virginia State Trooper. And after East Tennessee State University, I got hired by the Virginia State Police, and they sent me to Fairfax and Arlington County, where I got to work for about 10 years. And while I was in Fairfax and Arlington, I got on a program that was a pilot project. It was the Hazardous Material Motor Carrier Enforcement Team. We inspected commercial vehicles. Virginia adopted the federal regulations, so I was trained as a federal enforcement officer operating in Virginia, and I was also trained as a Virginia trooper.
So you were the guys that helped keep us all safe when we're going down the road. You're enforcing the laws
on the trucks.
Right.
Yes, and we could park them, we could take them off the road, tow them away, whatever they needed. We could force them to fix the trucks, and it made. When we first started, we were putting like 95% of them out of service. And
wow.
When I retired, it had dropped off to like 30-some%.
Wow.
So it was a tremendous increase in safety that what we were doing.
Well, tell us about some of your activities in Rockbridge County. Didn't you serve on the school board and also as its chairman?
Yes, I was elected to the school board in 1995, and I spent 10 years as a school board member. 5 years out of that 10 years, I was chairman of the board. I was the chairman when we renovated all 5 elementary schools. I introduced the geothermal concept to the school system, which has been a tremendous savings for the county. We doubled the size of the elementary school buildings, but the heating cost was basically half, which made it exactly the same as it was for the old building.
I think Lexington's borrowed that idea from the county as well.
We were the first school system in the state to do this. And I think a lot of people have borrowed it since then.
Now, in deciding to run for supervisor, were there a number of issues or one major issue that you had in mind? What's the driving force behind your candidacy?
I have been watching for a couple of years now things that were going on in the county and things that I really didn't think we were on the right path. And I decided that I should run for supervisor and try to get my conservative views out into the county a little bit and see if we can't get things in the county headed back to a direction to where that. One of the things that really bothers me is that ever since I first came here, our children all have to leave for employment purposes. There's no jobs in this county. And if you look at the regulations and everything that goes on in this county is very anti-employment in their regulations. It's hard for somebody to come in here. If you look at some of the other issues that are going on where the supervisors have basically forced their wheel on, let's say the school system, for instance, that upset me. But one of the primary things that I'm looking at, and I don't think people are paying much attention to it, we've talked about the middle school consolidation, we've talked about the trash issue at all the forums that we've attended, but I feel like that there's a big black cloud down over Richmond that people aren't paying any attention to, meaning there's things coming out of Richmond that's not going to be good for this county if we don't look at it and prepare for it. Just last week they came out with, the Secretary of Transportation came out and suggested that all the secondary roads in the counties be transferred to the counties. Think of what this would do to the county if we had to start maintaining secondary roads.
So you have concerns both about the state budget issues as well as unfunded mandates.
Yes, and I realized that these issues coming out of Richmond are going to be a direct impact on our tax bases here. And I want to try to protect the voters in this county as much as I can from unfair, harsh taxes. Because if you get in this county, anytime we have to pay for something extra, there's only one way we're going to do it, and that's raise the taxes on your house.
Well, those are very good points. Now, as you travel around the county, you go to various meetings and houses. What's the number one thing you'd like to leave in voters' minds about Ronnie Campbell's candidacy?
Ronnie Campbell is a conservative, honest person. If you ask me a question and I answer it, I'm not going to answer it with an answer you want to hear. I'm going to answer it with what I feel like. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'll follow through on it. And that's basically the way I've operated all my life. As a state trooper, your integrity was the most important thing you had. And it's still part of my life today.
Well, voters now have a little better idea who one of the candidates from the South River District is, and we certainly appreciate you sharing your views and your time with us today, Ronnie.
Well, thank you, Jerry. I really appreciated you inviting me in.